chapter 5, text 29. Bhoktaram yagya tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhridam sarvabhutanam gyatva mam shantim rachati. A person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries. Purport: the conditioned souls within the clutches of the illusory energy are all anxious to attain peace in the material world. But those who do not know the formula for peace, which is explained in this part of the Bhagavad Gita, but they do not know the formula for peace, which is explained in this part of Bhagavad Gita. The greatest peace formula is simply this: Lord Krishna is the beneficiary in all human activities. Men should offer everything to the transcendental service of the Lord, because he is the proprietor of all planets and the demigods thereon. No one is greater than he. He is greater than the greatest of the demigods, Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. In the Vedas, Shvetashvatara Upanishad 6.7, the Supreme Lord is described as Tam Ishwaranam Paramam Maheshwaram. Under the spell of illusion, living entities are trying to be the Lord of all they survey, but actually they are dominated by the material energy of the Lord. The Lord is the master of the material nature, and the conditioned souls are under the stringent rules of material nature. Unless one understands these bare facts, it is not possible to achieve peace in the world, either individually or collectively. This is the sense of Krishna consciousness. Lord Krishna is a supreme predominator, and all living entities, including the great demigods, are his subordinates. One can attain perfect peace only in complete Krishna consciousness. The fifth chapter is practical explanation of Krishna consciousness, generally known as Karma Yoga. The question of mental speculation as to how Karma Yoga can give liberation is answered herewith. To work in Krishna consciousness is to work with the complete knowledge of the Lord as the predominator. Such work is not different from transcendental knowledge. Direct Krishna consciousness is Bhakti Yoga, and Jnana Yoga is a path leading to Bhakti Yoga. Krishna consciousness means to work in full knowledge of one's relationship with the Supreme Absolute. And the perfection of this consciousness is knowledge of Krishna, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A pure soul is the eternal servant of God as his fragmental part and parcel. He comes into contact with Maya, illusion, due to the desire to lord it over Maya. And that is the cause of his many sufferings. As long as he is in contact with matter, he has to execute in terms of material necessities. Krishna consciousness, however, brings one to spiritual life even while one is within the jurisdiction of matter, for it is arousing of spiritual existence by practical practice in the material world. The more one is advanced, the more he is freed from clutches of matter. The Lord is not partial towards anyone. Everything depends on one's personal performance of duties in Krishna consciousness, which helps one control the senses in every respect and conquer the influence of desire and anger. And one who stands fast in Krishna consciousness, controlling the above mentioned passions, remains factually in the transcendental stage, or Brahma Nirvana. The Eightfold Yoga mysticism is automatically practiced in Krishna consciousness because the ultimate purpose is served. There is a gradual process of elevation in the practice of yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. But these only preface perfection by devotional service, which alone can award peace to the human being. It is the highest perfection of life. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports to 5th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of Karma Yoga, or action in Krishna consciousness. Okay, let's go back to the Sanskrit verse. Bhoktaram yagya tapasam sarva loka maheshwaram. So Bhoktaram means beneficiary, one who enjoys, right? Enjoys yagya, sacrifice. Uh, we have somebody named Yagya here today, I think. If Yagya is here, he's not joined yet. Anyway, so Yagya means sacrifice. So Bhoktaram Yagya Tapasam. So whatever tapasyas, austerities, and yagyas that one does, the ultimate enjoyer of that is Krishna. So we might be doing tapasya for Ganesh, Chandra, Varuna, Surya, tapasya for this and tapasya for that, and yagya for rain, yagya for good health, yagya for corona, yagya for people to win World Cup or whatever, right? All kinds of things. So the World Cup part is non-Vedic, that is just made up. But Vedic sacrifices, Vedic tapasyas, these, although might be directed towards demigods, Krishna is saying here that he is the ultimate beneficiary. So indirectly, it comes to Krishna. Now, it's better to obviously do it directly to Krishna, offer we chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. That's a yagya. That's Nam yagya. That means we are sacrificing time. We are sacrificing sound energy and thereby directly meditating on the Supreme Lord Krishna. So Bhoktaram Yagya Tapasam Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. So he is the Lord, Mahe Ishwaram, Maha Ishwar. Ishwar means controller. Maheshwar means Maha Ishwar or supreme controller. So of all the planets, every planet has a demigod. Every planet has a presiding deity. Like Surya planet has Surya Dev, right? Surya Narayan, better known. So like that, every planet has a personality who's in charge. But Krishna is the lord of all those personalities. He puts them in place. So like in the central government, right, there's a minister who's the head of every department. But above all those ministers is a prime minister who's all their bosses. So similarly, Krishna is the boss of all the demigods who are lording over various, like Indra, he's a king of heaven, right? But there is a boss of Indra. Indra comes and worships Govinda, right? When he sends all these clouds and rains, and Krishna lifts a Govardhan hill, and he protects all the devotees under Govardhan hill. After that, Indra realizes, oh my God, this is my boss. I was misbehaving with my own boss, and he comes down and asks for forgiveness. He brings Airavata, who's the elephant who does Abhishek of Krishna, and he begs for Krishna, please forgive me. I didn't realize you're God. You're my boss. Forgive me. Krishna, says, okay, can I go play? And Krishna's done. But the point is, so everybody has a boss, and Krishna is that personality. And he's first person mentioning that in Bhagavad Gita, that Bhoktaram Yagya Tapasam Sarva Loka Maheshwaram Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. Suhridam means one who's a well-wisher. Sarva Bhutanam, all living entities. Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. He's a benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities. The ant, the bacteria, the coronavirus, the ant, the human, the elephant, everyone. Krishna is Suhridam. He is a benefactor of all living entities. He's providing food. He's providing shelter. He's providing all the living facilities for all living entities. Suhridam sarvabhutanam gyatva mam shantim rachati. Gyatva means he's all knowing. So mam as in me, Lord Krishna himself, he's speaking first person. Gyatva mam, I know. And shantim, relief from all material pangs. So when one knows Krishna, one gets relief from all material problems. So I'll read the translation now. A person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate benefactor or beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from pangs of material miseries. So when you read Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, one of the things that is mentioned that when you come to bhakti, one of the first things that comes is auspiciousness. Your life becomes auspicious because everything you do. So the food you're eating is Krishna Prasad, the music you're listening to is Krishna Kirtan, in your house, you see it as a temple of God. So there's a sense of auspiciousness suddenly in your life. And the second thing that happens is your material problems, you're relieved of your material problems, which is also another sign of Krishna consciousness, that you have come in such an environment where slowly, the problems start subsiding, and your perception of those problems also start becoming realistic. Just like when you take a flight, you go up, even the biggest buildings look tiny and insignificant when you are at the height of 20,000 feet, 30,000 feet. It all looks so small. So similarly, when we come to Krishna consciousness, all our big problems that we're dealing with right now become miniaturized, and we see them in the real perspective. Things that we thought, oh my God, without this, my life will be a complete empty hollow. And you're like, well, not such a bad thing. It's okay. Moving on. Right? Sometimes, especially a lot of you are unmarried, and you might be like, oh, break up, without this person in my life, I'm a dead man or dead woman, whatever, right? But with Krishna consciousness, I have helped so many people get over breakups, and eventually they look back and like, whoa, I was crying over that. Life has so much more to offer. But when you're in that situation, you get clouded, you get overcome by the problem, and you think that problem looks so big, so massive. But when you come to real perspective, from Krishna conscious perspective, they become miniaturized, and you realize how small and insignificant they are in your pursuit of the higher principle, of the higher purpose of life that you are pursuing. In that purpose of life, the small exam that you didn't do so well, the small fight that you had with somebody you love, all those things you won't even remember after a year, after 2 years. So they don't mean much. They become miniaturized. So the point is, problem does subside, but also your perception of problem subsides when you are in Krishna consciousness, when you understand the higher purpose, the most important person in your life, and that is Krishna. Right? So Krishna is saying that a person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods. So you realize devatas are also small compared to Krishna. He's the supreme lord of planets and demigods, devatas, and the benefactor of all, and well-wisher of all living entities. Such a person is peaceful. Right? Okay. Any question on that? Okay. If there are no questions, so now it's my turn to ask questions. I will be asking question, and multiple people can give answers based on the chapter 5 understanding that we have. So first question is, what is Sankhya Yoga? Does anybody remember the beginning of chapter 5? We mentioned Sankhya Yoga. What is Sankhya Yoga? Oh, this is sad. All of you taking notes and everything. Okay, let's make it easy for you. Where does the word Sankhya come from?
Sankhya.
Where does the word come from?
Numbers.
Numbers.
Sankhya.
Sankhya comes from the word
Sankhya means numbers.
Okay, now what is Sankhya Yoga? Come on, there's no right or wrong answers. Try it. Yes, Dr. Pooja, you've unmuted yourself. Go ahead.
Maybe like chanting and with keeping keeping the track of the numbers, like how many times we are chanting.
No.
Sorry.
No, that's all right.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
I think Sankhya Yoga is the art of, or the mode of renunciation, of the material possessions that we have.
You all have the book in front of you, right? You can just see it. What Krishna says in chapter 5.
8 type of yoga. Hare Krishna.
What type of yoga?
8 type. Ashtanga yoga.
That's Ashtanga yoga, not Sankhya yoga. Yagya says
Oh, that is
something to do
material study, the study of the material world.
Right. Analytical study of material world. So basically modern science, the way
Sorry, I took the help of the.
Yeah, that is Sankhya yoga. So basically seeing the 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, sky, right? Space. And then the mind, intelligence, ego, the 5 senses, the 5 sense objects, the soul, God, right? So kind of breaking down matter and analyzing each one of them and understanding material subject matter is Sankhya yoga. Okay. My next question is, should you treat learned Brahmana and drunkard, meat eater, the same way? Chapter 5, text 18. Based on that learning, should we treat a learned person, let's not say Brahmana, a learned person, and a person who is a drunkard the same way?
So, I think like
Not what you think. What does the Bhagavad Gita say? Amit, go ahead. What does the Bhagavad Gita say?
so like as a person we see everybody like similar, like you said, Krishna has like in everyone's like part and parcel. We are all part and parcel of Krishna. So we see everyone like in same respectful way.
Okay.
But like in a drunkard and like in a learned person, like we like we may try to make one like that, see this is not good, just like Jogai and Mathai won't, they are also, as I have heard, they are also drunkard before Krishna consciousness comes into Krishna consciousness. So we can make them understand that this is not good.
I have a very simple question. Give me short answers. Okay.
Can
you
I add
treat-
something? Yeah, hi.
Amit,
Partha this
thank you
side.
for answering. Yes. Partha, go ahead.
Yeah. Under Krishna consciousness, whether it's a Brahmana or it's a Shudra, all are in same. That is what said in the Shankha Yoga. That's what I remember.
Okay. All right.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Yogesh.
So Samadarshinaha, which is the art of or the mode of looking everything equally, because Krishna is present as Antaryami, that is within you or within me. So everybody can be treated equally, but that doesn't mean that everyone is equal.
That's
So
right.
depending on the circumstances, we should prioritize our attention towards that person.
Very
is
nice.
my understanding.
So help me understand, how would you treat a Brahman and how would you treat a drunkard? The same way, or where is the similarity? Where is the sameness, equal vision part, and where is the difference?
The sameness arises from the Antaryami aspect, which is Krishna is present in you and me. So you shouldn't harm. For instance, you look at an insect and you look at an elephant. Both are of the equal importance because they both arise from Krishna. And at the same time, you should also be aware of the threats they can impose. That is, the ant can bite you, or the elephant can, you get stamped by the elephant.
Correct.
So that doesn't mean you should go and tame it, but you should keep it at a distance and respect it or give it equal respect.
Correct. So respect all in your heart, but how we behave might differ depending on whether it's a snake versus a cow versus a human versus a learned person versus a drunkard versus a murderer, etc. Right? But the respect is there for all living entities equally because Krishna is in everyone's heart. Okay? What questions do you have for me? Let's open up for Q&A based on chapter 5. What are some questions you might have for me? Prayas, come on, ask. Instead of typing, it's easier if you just ask. Unmute yourself.
It is, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, so you mentioned that all demigods worship Devdas and Devdas worship
No,
Krishna.
no, 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 no. Demigods are Devatas.
Okay, might be some misunderstanding.
English of Devata is demigods.
It's demigods, right? Yeah.
Yes. There's God and there's demigod.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Janak Prabhu.
This might sound very naive question, but in Bhagavad Gita, it's in multiple places the Lord says that I am the sole enjoyer of all sacrifices.
Mm-hmm.
I just take it at face value that yes, whatever we do, it ultimately benefits Krishna. But it's like theoretically, what does this statement mean? Because when I eat, I am enjoying also, right, as a living
Yeah.
entity. Or when I am doing my work, even I am enjoying from that. So how is Lord Krishna the sole enjoyer of all sacrifices?
So sacrifices, when you're enjoying, it's not a sacrifice. Sacrifice means you are taking away that enjoyment element from what you deserve, what you want, your sense gratification. Rather, you say, Krishna, this is for you. So for example, let's talk about the process of offering food to Krishna. We don't smell the food, we don't taste the food, we don't lust over the food, that when Krishna will finish eating, then I can eat. We don't do that. The mood is, my dear Krishna, I have cooked this for you, please accept it. The fire is your energy, the water is your energy, the grains, the pulses, they're all yours. And the ability, the intelligence you've given me, with that I have made this, that is also ability given by you. So may I be able to please you. And that's sacrifice, right? Rather than may I be pleased, may I be able to please you, my dear Krishna, please accept this offering of love. And with that, we ring bell and offer mantras, and Krishna accepts it. And then if there's anything left on the plate, which 99% of the cases, something is left on the plate, and we accept that as Krishna Prasadam. Although we hope that the plate would be empty, which happens, by the way. A lot of times, Krishna actually accepts that there is nothing left on the plate. But rare. Most of us don't have that great fortune yet. So the point is, act of sacrifice, meaning taking away that sense of enjoyment and giving it to Krishna. And when Krishna enjoys, after that we enjoy his Mahaprasadam, right? So that's what it means. So when we are chanting, that's offering that time, that energy as a sacrifice to Krishna. So Krishna is accepting it. Now, if you're doing that to demigods, that's also indirectly. So demigod is offering that to Krishna. So demigod's like, okay, thank you very much. And he's like, here, my dear Krishna, this originally belongs to you, right? So there's a tax collector, but the taxes are getting deposited in the government's treasury. So ultimately it goes to treasury, but it might be collected by online or some, counter somewhere, something. Does it make sense, Janaprabhu?
Yeah, so it is like we behave in a way so that we offer ultimately to Krishna, but like
we are confused. We don't know who to trust. We are going this Baba, that demigod, this thing, that thing.
I see.
The demigods are not confused. They're very clear.
They know their position.
They know their position. They know what they're supposed to do, and they do that. Okay. So whatever comes to them, they are basically kind of like bank tellers who take the money, take your deposit, and put it in the locker, and take the money from the locker and give it to you when you fill out that form. Okay. They know it's not theirs. They know it's not theirs to keep, but they accept from you on behalf of Krishna, and they give it to you on behalf of Krishna.
Understood. Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
Sir, can I ask one question?
Please.
Yes, sir. So at this moment, where everything is like shut down and locked down, So how can we perform our duties to Krishna? Like that's
Do you
that's what
need
I
to
want to
walk
ask.
around on the streets to perform your duties for Krishna?
Like from my perspective, like my school is also over, and I don't my college, even I didn't get into a college. So like I
Do you have
think
beats?
so. Yeah,
Can
I
you
can.
chant?
Yes,
Yes. Can you read?
that's what I'm doing.
You have
Yeah,
YouTube,
I'm
you
doing
have
that.
internet at home. You could watch
Yeah.
a video, you can listen to kirtan, you can do, so you're good. See, that's the beauty of being a devotee, right? We can never get bored. There's never a time when you're just like stuck. Oh, what do I do? When I'm on a flight, I'm chanting Hare Krishna. Everybody else is like twiddling the thumb or sleeping or drinking coffee, and I'm chanting Hare Krishna. So for us devotees, nothing can stop us. We always have access to devotional service. We can read, we can chant, we can remember what we have heard, right? And try to understand them deeper, meditate on the knowledge. That's a very good practice to have. So we remember things. So lockdown is actually a great time for us to grow in a devotional service, isn't it?
Yes, sir. So that's good enough, right? Like
Yeah.
chanting
What else do you
and
want to do?
reading.
There's nothing else, right?
Yeah.
Bhakti is very
Go to the
easy.
temple.
It's philosophy. Shravanam Kirtanam. You hear, you speak, you remember. Smaranam. You're done.
Okay.
You apply it in your life and you get purified.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Most welcome. Okay. Any other questions?
Hare Krishna, sir. I have a question.
Yeah.
So this our philosophy is based on Krishna consciousness. So I'm just curious to understand that for the living entities who do not have the consciousness, like how is the karma getting calculated for them? How in the next birth, how does it affect them? Like what is the philosophy behind that?
Absolutely. Very nice question, Chandrima. There is no karma for them. So only in human form of life, because we have choice, we have free will, there is karma that is accrued, and in other forms of life, karma is spent, right? So as a sponge or as a amoeba, as a pig, as a dog, karma is being spent. But as a human, you're acquiring karma, or you have the opportunity to burn all karma and go back to Krishna and never take birth again. That's what Krishna is actually wanting us to do in Bhagavad Gita. That's what he's indicating. That punarjanmana vidyate, don't take birth again, right? Finish off all your desires and everything and just come back to me. So in other living entity forms, first of all, there is consciousness. Let's make that thing very clear. Whenever there is soul, there is consciousness. How do you know? The need to live, you will see, is in every living entity. In a tree, there is growth, there is reproduction, there is, if you cut off a branch, it will grow another branch because it wants to live. If you see even a bacteria, it has its own flagellum, right? It's pushing that flagellum and moving forward to eat whatever food that the bacteria eats. So they all show symptoms of life. That means there is consciousness. Not the same way that is consciousness as we have as human beings, where we are able to love, trust, complicated things we can do. But they have consciousness at their level, covered consciousness, but it's there. If you look at a panda taking care of its baby, or a cow when taking care of its calf, or an elephant, uh, having social structure, they all show very strong symptoms of consciousness. But certainly, they are designed in a certain way that they cannot choose to do whatever they want, right? So there's the free will is not so free. In our case, we can choose to be a vegetarian or a meat eater. A cow cannot choose to be a meat eater, or a tiger cannot choose to be a vegetarian. They are just who they are, and by instinct, they do what they do. So in their case, A tiger doesn't get karma for killing a deer. We get karma for killing a goat, right? Because we have a choice. Does that answer your question, Chandrama?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Anything else? Oh, there's a lot of questions here. How can we enjoy the feeling of sacrifice? We always think it's pain and pain. Well, okay, let me say this. You get your first salary, and with that salary, you buy something wonderful for your parents or somebody you love. Is that sacrifice? Certainly. Why is it sacrifice? Because with that money, you could have bought something for yourself and gratified yourself. But you find even more happiness by giving it to somebody you love. It's more happy you get by seeing them happy, smiling with a gift that you gave them with your earning. That's sacrifice. So sacrifice doesn't mean, cutting off your flesh and putting it in the fire. Some yogis actually do that, but that's not what sacrifice, what is being referred here. Sacrifice is a labor of love, that you make something with love and you offer it to somebody who you love. And rather than selfish enjoyment, sacrificial enjoyment is actually far more rewarding. It's just people don't have the patience to try it. So today, right now, with Corona situation, so many people are sacrificing their money to fund food relief and oxygen and this and that. Is there happiness in that? A sense of satisfaction? If there was no happiness, people wouldn't do it. Certainly, there is a sense of satisfaction, a sense of fulfillment that, yes, something I've done is impacting somebody else's happiness, right? That's sacrifice. And it is actually more pleasurable than selfishness. Okay, thank you. Glad you got it. Okay. Partha is saying, for
Yeah.
the soul.
So,
Go ahead.
so the question is, like, if it's not born, or it doesn't have a soul is never born or never dead. So then, like, every day newborns are coming alive. So then how this entire things works basically, if it doesn't have a birth or death either?
Sure. Partha, how many Philosophy Friday classes have you attended? Is this your first one?
Not really. I've not attended because of the multiple reason. I joined long time back, but I was in a very hectic projects.
Right. No, I just wanted to understand so that I can tell you, so I know how much you know. Okay, a good question. So I had the same question, 6 billion population growing to 7 billion population. Where are these souls coming from if there is no birth or death? So first of all, you have to understand, this is not the only planet where there are living beings, right? So according to Vedic classification, there are 8.4 million species of life. There are 9 lakh species of aquatics. There are 4 lakh species of humans. Imagine that, 4 lakh species of humans. Now, in this world, you will find, okay, the Caucasians, the Africans, the blacks, the Chinese, the maybe brown skinned people, us, and some more, maybe 10 or 15 varieties at most. Where are the 4 lakh species? So that's where it comes in. The other planet is this. There are 14 planetary systems, not 14 planets, but planetary systems in this universe, where souls are transmigrating from one place to another based on their karma and based on their desire. So, for example, if you do 100 Ashwamedha sacrifices, you become Indra, or you can even become Lord Brahma in your next life. Let's make things simple. You do good things, you go to heaven. You do Krishna conscious activities, you go to Goloka, where Krishna is, right? Beyond heaven, earth, everything, beyond this material universe. But within this material universe, a soul is transmigrating from one body to another in this planet or other planets. So there's constantly changes happening. So just like immigration, right? There is a population of Calcutta, population of Delhi is always changing based on how many immigrants coming in from other places. So that's happening. So, for example, Partho, the house that you're staying, whatever number of family members must be there, right? But if I were to tell you who are your roommates, you might say, I don't have any roommates. I have my own room. But guess what? There are unlimited number of bacteria. There are unlimited number of microbes. There are ants. There are cockroaches, perhaps. If not in your room, somewhere in your building, there are lizards, all kinds of living entities that are there. So there's only 6 billion of us, but there is trillions and trillions and trillions of living entities everywhere. Even in Antarctica, recently they found in the ice they dug, they found actually these worms that if you take them to normal temperature, they will become completely melted. They can only survive in ice, right? Even in ice, there is living entities, right? Even in stones, there are living entities that have been found, worms and things like that. So the point is, there are literally unlimited number of living entities on this planet. Now, what to speak of other planetary systems? And there's constantly changing that's happening. So many are coming to the human form of life, and thereby we have in human population that is growing. But the soul is never born, the soul never dies, the soul transmigrates from one body to another, and that body could be in different planets, different universes also, right? So that's the whole idea. Did I complicate it for you, or did you understand?
No, I understand completely. Thank you for that answer. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay. Is there any other question? Yagya, I know you have some questions. It's your first time, I know. Feel free to ask. And those of you at the first time, don't feel that you have to stay silent. I know it might be like we have come to the 5th chapter, but it's okay. You can ask anything. Okay. Any other questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, one more question from me.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So sometimes when I think about infinity, soul is beginningless, right? So we have been around for an infinite amount of time, right? So whenever I think about progress, one question that popped in my mind is, if we have not made sufficient progress in an infinite amount of time, let's even talk about liberation, although liberation is a lower than Krishna Bhakti, but let's say we have not become perfect in an infinite amount of time, then how are we going to achieve something in a possibly finite amount of time? And so how do we take a motivation or inspiration to work hard towards a goal when we know that from time immemorial we have not achieved it? So how are we going to achieve it in a finite amount of time in future?
Sure. First of all, you have to understand that yes, we have existed for infinity. Having said that, we were in the spiritual world. That's where our real home is. That's where we belong. At one point, we decided to come down, that I don't want to be with Krishna. I want to be here in this material, and this material world has been designed for that kind of a purpose. So that time, although very, very big, yes, we might have been Brahma, we might have been some demigods, and then eventually we came down to Earth planet and learning ABCD 1 to 3, right? And couldn't make it in Satya Yoga, couldn't make it in Treta Yoga, and finally in Kali Yoga we are here. Sure, but here's the part: we have, by somehow or other, we have taken birth in the holy land of India. We have gotten shelter of the highest philosophy, that is the Krishna consciousness or Bhagavad Gita. We have the most powerful book, the only scripture in this world where God is speaking first person singular. Every other scripture, if you look at Buddhism, Christianity, Islam, any religion, no offense to anyone, but each of those books are spoken by angels or some representative of God. Here is one place where God is speaking first person singular. So we have now access to that. Yes, trillions of Kali Yugas we might have crossed upon, but now we have this, and Krishna is saying, now that you have this, Don't delay anymore. Let this be your last birth. So the motivation is in Krishna's words. Krishna is constantly motivating Arjun to say, I am here. You just try. I'll take care of everything. The motivation is chapter 18, text 66, right? Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. Just take shelter of me. Forget everything I told you. Take shelter of me. Aham tam sarva papabhyo. I'll take care of all your negative sins. Moksha shami. I'll give you liberation. Don't worry. Master Chahan. Don't worry. So if Krishna is saying don't worry, why should we worry? Point is to learn to surrender. Slowly, taking baby steps. We are in the process and it will happen. Our one step, Krishna takes 1,000 steps. Our 1% effort, Krishna's 99% mercy. That's it. That's the combination. Just we have to make sure we are putting in our effort. But Prabhu, the perfection is not ours. We cannot be perfect. All the ability is being provided by Krishna. The inspiration is provided by Krishna. The association is provided by Krishna. Our goal is not screw it up. How do we screw it up? By hurting devotees. One thing Krishna does not tolerate is Vaishnav aparadh, which means when you're hurtful to other devotees, especially those who are trying to help you, inspire you in your Krishna consciousness. As long as we don't make that grave aparadh, everything else Krishna is like, it's okay, I'll take care of you. It's okay, I'll take care of you. It's okay, I'll take care of you. Don't worry. He'll inspire, he'll slap us in the face if we go to here and there, but he will take us back.
Okay.
Right? That's Krishna's promise. So don't worry. As long as you're not breaking hearts, you're okay.
Okay.
Be in the process.
Hello.
Yes, Ajit. First time you're here, right?
Hi. Yeah, sir. Good evening. That's right. This is my first session. Thank you. So, sir, actually, I just wanted to actually know one thing. What actually Krishna says about taking decisions when actually people get angry, when someone is actually in an anger situation, so that how can decisions being taken by people means to be humble, yeah, something like that. So, how we as an kind of entrepreneur, right, sir? Because we actually know the practical things, and we actually become more practically oriented, and when we become more angry, so that how at that point of time how we can take decisions.
Chapter 2, Krishna says that from anger comes smriti bhram, bewilderment of memory. You forget who you are and you act in ways that you regret later on, right? So the point is, don't make decisions when you're angry. Don't make decisions when you're lusty. Don't make decisions when you're greedy. Don't make decisions when your mind is not in your control. When the urges come, right? And you're being taken over, your system is being hijacked by the modes of material nature. Do not make decisions. Give yourself some time. Breathe in, breathe out. Pause. Go for a walk. Drink some water. Talk to somebody who inspires you, right? Watch something. Then make a decision when you're calm. When you are in your optimal performance, that's when you make decisions, and you will make decisions you will not regret. That doesn't mean you will not make wrong decisions. It's just you will make the best possible decision in the time frame that is there for you. Other scenario is you will definitely make the wrong decision when you're angry because you are high on tamasic or rajasic gun, where you're not thinking who you are, you're not thinking who the other person is, you're just going on the josh. Like, how dare you say this? I will, make sure I'll show you who the boss is or whatever else, right? Not thinking of the consequences. You're not able to think. Your brain has been actually frozen. And scientifically, it is shown that the neocortex, or the frontal part of the brain, which is only present in us humans, the censorship part, that part becomes completely off when we are angry, right? When we are stressed. So your neocortex goes off when you're stressed out. It's like the blue screen of death in Microsoft. Yeah, your computer is like frozen because RAM is overloaded. The same thing here, our RAM is overloaded. So now we cannot think that what decisions you make. You're going to make a decision like an animal, right? Animal doesn't care, right? You're taking care of the dog for so long. or the cat for so long. If it's hungry, it's going to just go crazy over you. It might even bite you. So we end up acting like animals. So the point is, hit the pause button, reflect. So the 4R formula is given by my spiritual master that helps me a lot. The first is you recognize there's a problem. So, okay, you know what? I'm getting angry. I'm getting frustrated. This is not good. Now I'm going to make a stupid comment or I'm going to write something bad. So recognize that something is going on. You're not happy. You're angry. Number 2 is reflect. Why am I angry? Where is this anger coming from? Is it really the other person or is it me? Right? So as you think, now your intelligence is kicking in, your frontal part of the brain is now activated, right? Now senses are also working. So you're okay. You know, okay, yeah, this person, what he said makes sense. I made that mistake. Or maybe it's, this person is having a bad day. And even though it's not my fault, this person is saying it. Maybe that person is not doing too well. I should ask him or her, are you okay? You don't behave with me like this, right? Now you're thinking like a thoughtful person. So first is recognize you're angry. Second is reflect what's going on. Third R is rectify, right? That, I was about to do this, let's not do this. Rectify your action. And the fourth R is reinstate back in action. So now that you have gone through enough time to kind of ease yourself, think through things, now you reinstate back in action. So somebody says, you rascal. You say, whoa, that's very hurtful. I feel hurt, right? I state, I'm not saying you call me rascal, you bloody whatever. No, you say, I feel hurt by what you just said. That's hurtful. Are you having a bad day? Is everything okay with you? You don't talk to me like this. Right? Now, when you're angry, you're going to talk like that. You're going to just hit back and they're going to hit back and you're going to prove who's right. I'm right. No, I'm right. No, I'm right. No, I'm right. But is that the purpose of proving who's right, or the purpose is to get a conclusive answer? Come to a conclusion where both parties can get what they want. That is not thought through when you are angry. So the important part is to recognize, reflect, rectify, reinstate. Does it answer your question, Partha?
Sure, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks a lot, sir.
I have
But sir,
another
actually,
question.
as you told,
Yeah, please carry on.
Sorry, Ajit, go ahead.
Actually, as you told, actually 4 hours, like means initially, actually you recognize the problem, then after reflect it and rectify it. But sir, means suppose I means face the initial problem. Suppose I'm facing the initial problem means angriness. Suppose someone is very angry and I'm also very angry. So at that point of time, if I reflect things, then
so initially practice the pause. That's all.
correct.
The 4 hours can come later on as you have more control over your mind and senses.
Correct.
Initially, practice pausing. Before you speak, pause and think. Let me breathe in, breathe out. Okay, should I say, should I not? And then say something. Eventually, the 4 hours will happen in a fraction of a second, in a microsecond. So when you practice a lot, but initially just hit the pause button, and that by itself will help you not say something stupid or hurtful that you might regret later on. Our Vaishnav teaching is amanina manadena. You give all respects to others, but don't expect respect in return. If you get it, that's nice, but don't expect respect. But make sure you don't disrespect anyone, right? That's the only thing in your control. You cannot control if the other person will respect you or not. But what is in your control is you don't disrespect or hurt anyone. So you pause and you practice pausing, right? Okay, I'm angry. Should I say it? Hold on. What do I say? Okay. No, you know what? I'll just mince my words a little bit. That's all. Once, twice, thrice, 5 times, and you'll see you're more control. That's when you can reflect, think through things, think from the other person's perspective, and then make a comment.
But sir, actually, suppose means over the time, actually, if I get experienced over that, then obviously I'll definitely control that anger. But if I tell somebody like I reflect something, but after that rectify is coming into picture, But all of a sudden,
So,
actually, I
so
told someone that it is not at all good. But and then after I realized that I have to rectify my thing, means the thought process, then I'll definitely means making me realization that you have to do this.
So rectify in two ways. One is you apologize to the other person or whatever ways you can rectify your action. Also rectify to yourself. Hit yourself in the head. Hey, next time, Ajit, don't do it. Next time how can you do it better? How can you, not say something hurtful and still resolve the problem, right? So it requires thoughtfulness. After the incident is over, when you're going to bed, think about it. Could I have handled the situation a little better? If so, next time, let me do it that way. Whenever Krishna gives me the next opportunity, let me handle the situation a little better next time, a little less angry. So it's gradual and incremental. That way you will grow. Don't try to become a saint overnight. Won't happen.
Correct, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right. Partha, you had a question?
Yeah. So I understand your point of view, like, when to take a pause, but there would be some kind, I mean, sometimes there would be a situation like you have to say something because there are a lot of
No, you
people.
say something after 5 seconds.
Okay. Okay. I got the answer.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Santosh here. Prabhu, I have a question regarding our planning as well as decision-making aspect. Now, in our professional or business, we do a lot of planning, short-term planning, long-term planning, and then we also take some decisions and take certain actions. First of all, I don't know the planning what I do for 3 years or 5 years, whether it is plan of Krishna. And many times we take actions and decisions which may go right or go wrong. So how do we plan?
It's not plan of Krishna. It's your plan.
Correct.
We
So
make our choices. We make our decisions. The way to act like Arjun is to take guidance from somebody who understands the Bhagavad Gita, the scriptures. That way, so the question you should ask is, what would Krishna want me to do in this situation? How would you know? Well, one option is read the Gita and understand it, so you know what would Krishna want you to do in this situation. The other option is ask somebody who has read the Gita who can tell you how to act in this situation or how to decide in this situation. But Krishna has no business making decisions for your business. So it's not Krishna, it's you. And how you make the choice, how make your decision, your value system, your knowledge, you have to choose where it comes from.
Yeah, the present situation, yes, but when we plan for a long term, maybe 3 years down the line or 5 years down the line in my career or in my profession or business, that I want to achieve this and we take certain actions. How do we know? Like, I want to be in align with what Krishna wants me to be, but many times we do what with our limited knowledge and the forces of Maya.
So don't be limited by your own knowledge, right? That's what I'm saying. Take Vaishnav guidance.
Okay.
Take the guidance of a Vaishnava.
Okay.
Somebody who is a guru or a mentor or somebody who can guide you in your life.
Okay. Right, Prabhu. Dandavata.
You don't have to be limited by your own knowledge. You don't have to speculate. You don't have to gamble with your life. You can always ask.
Okay. Right, Prabhu. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
So, Prabhu, I want to give you some light on a statement I've heard, from interview by Amitabh Bachchan. Like, he said that if things are going according to your plan, it's well and good. And if it is not going to as per your plan, then it is even better because some Almighty is planning for you, and this is like something better will happen. So this is statement I want you to give some.
So it's not universal statement. It's not always true. If you don't invite Krishna, he doesn't interfere in your life. He's not a nosy person. Through the power of prayer, you invite Krishna. My dear Krishna, I'm in this situation. Will you please help me? That's when Krishna will create a path for you. And you choose the path. It's not like Krishna makes you choose something. You always have free will. So Krishna might make a path for you, but you choose and follow that path. And if you're not praying, if you're an atheist or whoever you are, you're just in your karmic automated life cycle. You have done good things, good circumstances will come. You've done bad things, bad circumstances will come. And in that circumstance, you will have one or two options. You will make a choice and thereby create your destiny of the next step. Every step of the way, you're making a choice and creating your future. No one is doing it for you. God is not involved in the picture. It is you creating your own destiny. If you invite God, then He might give you the intelligence, the circumstances, the people with which you can make a conscious choice in the right direction. That's all. Does it help, Amit?
Yeah, Prabhu, thank you.
Okay, few more minutes left. Any reflections? Anything anybody wants to share? If not, questions.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
I
Krishna.
just have a question.
Yeah.
Last few times you have mentioned that in Russia there were some devotees who were tortured and they were given the bread and they were making the beads with the bread to have the do the japa of Hare Krishna. So my question is, why Krishna is not helping them and they were tortured so much? Because in Russia and they were like, Krishna should have the mercy on them and they should not be tortured, and some of them were tortured to death, as you told.
And I had answered this question last time, but I guess you were gone by the time you there. So I'll repeat myself. Krishna's mercy comes in a way that He sees it, not the way we want it always. Having said that, just to give you the answer, the Russian devotees were released. One boy in Australia, he made a record, a song asking Gorbachev to release the devotees. That record went viral back in those days, before internet actually, and Gorbachev released the devotees. But at the initial stage, some devotees did die, and painful death. So Krishna's mercy doesn't mean we have a comfortable life and nothing bad happens to us. Krishna's mercy gives us the strength to go through those situations. When Arjun was fighting the war, he was getting hit by arrows. He was bleeding. It was not like he was sleeping on a bed of roses and he was winning the war. That's not how it works. But he had Krishna by his side, empowered by Krishna, and he was fighting with all his enthusiasm. Was he getting injured? Absolutely. So Krishna's mercy was his presence and his strength that he was providing to Arjuna. So the mercy comes in the form of strength, in the form of perception. These devotees could not be stopped from chanting. That's the strength Krishna is giving. Because you have to understand, Krishna is not worried about this body. He's not worried about this illusory life that we live. Because this is just a speck in Krishna's time zone. We are born, we are dead 60, 70 years, not a big time. But the reality is in spiritual world. So Krishna makes sure, his mercy is that he makes sure you come back to Krishna, that you don't forget Krishna. That's Krishna's mercy. The other side is you get all the good things in life and you forget Krishna. And at the time of death, it's a failed life because you got everything, but you lost God. Versus you lost everything, but you got God. Or you don't lose anything and you still get God, right? All three are options. So the point is, but the most important thing is getting Krishna. So Krishna's mercy is to bring you back to home, the eternal home, that is Golok Vrindavan. That's what Krishna is saying. Come back home. Enough of living in this video game world, illusory world, dream world. Wake up and come back to me. That's what the mercy is. So we might think mercy is in the form of nothing bad can happen to me. That's the illusion. I will not give you that promise. Devotees will go through difficulties, but devotees will also have the strength to face those difficulties. We don't have to drink. We don't have to go to the bar to forget our problems. We face our problems head to head and we fix them, like Arjun as a warrior. That's Krishna's mercy. Does it help, Vibhuti Mataji? Do you understand?
Yes, I understand, but Krishna was there every time for Arjun to save him, and he was taking the arrows or whatever, like in
He's there for us also. He's there for us also.
But was he there for those Russians also?
Absolutely, he was there. How he was there, only they would know. You and I wouldn't know, being here. Krishna's reciprocation. When Krishna is dancing with the gopis, there are millions of gopis he's dancing with in a Rasa Leela dance. Every gopi sees Krishna as dancing with me only. Krishna is simultaneously reciprocating with each gopi individually. And each gopi sees Krishna is only with me and nobody else. Krishna can do it because he is God. So how he's reciprocating with those devotees who might have died, we all die. That is the reality of material world. Martya Loka means what? This is the place where people die. Martya Loka, right? So this is the reality. But how Krishna reciprocated with them, they only know. We might not be able to see it. You see what Krishna is doing in your life. You saw, the ad for Krishna consciousness while you were in the hospital, while your husband was struggling. Correct?
You remember? I'm surprised.
Of course I remember.
Okay.
Of course I remember. So you see how Krishna is reciprocating in your life by what your needs are, right? That's what we can perceive. We don't know how Krishna is reciprocating with other people. We cannot judge because Krishna is inside. He does things internally that we cannot even see from outside. That's his nature, actually. He says, Sutre Maniganatata, right? I'm the string on which the pearls are set on the pearl necklace. You don't see me, you only see the necklace, but the shape is coming from me. So similarly, in all our lives, Krishna is very directly taking part. Only we can feel it. Our neighbors cannot even know how Krishna is supporting us. The important part is we should see it. If we don't see it, take guidance so that we know how to distinguish between Krishna's mercy and karma. Does that help, Vibhuti Mataji?
Yes, thank you so much.
Most
Thank
welcome.
you.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a good night, everyone. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare